Hello, hockey world. We finally made it this week. The season starts. But before the season starts, of course, Russ has to start. So go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, wanted to just talk about the Phillies Mets series. We don't have to talk about Fox. We all agree that broadcast stinks. That's not the thing. What's interesting, what I find interesting is that through radio and even a guy who I work with today, I found out that the most hated Met is Brandon Nimmo.
Mm.
And it's like, well, and right, Mike is puzzled, and technically so am I. So this is just like, I got to know him a little bit. He's like a nice guy, super nice guy. He runs really hard down the first base, and if he hits a home run, he runs full speed. He's done that since Little League.
Yeah.
People in Philly don't like it. And
so he's the anti-Gleyber Torres, is what you're saying.
Right. And when he points above, he's not trying to show up the Phillies. He's doing the usual God thing that some players
Doesn't he also have his grandmother just died?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but for whatever reason, this is the guy that bothers and everybody has a fan base. There's all like Chase Utley bothered me to no end, right?
Yeah.
Gee, so, Philly fans are heartless dicks. Shocking.
But I'm shocked. I'm really shocked though that it turned out to be Brandon Nimmo because he's like such a benign guy.
Me too. That's weird.
That's the way it is in sports sometimes.
The problem with the Mets, I think, is that they are all kind of likable. And I think that the reality is like the Phillies and the Mets are kind of similar in a lot of ways. And
they are similar in a lot of ways.
It's hard for Phillies fans to find something really to hate about any of them, to be honest, right? Because they're fighters. They fight, they battle. Yeah. They're both great ninth inning teams. They both have this thing. So I don't think that's surprising that they're going to pick somebody who does something strange. Like they're going to pick if he runs around the bases, that's fine.
And that's what it is. He's the oddball.
Yeah, and they just have to pick on someone. I mean, I'm surprised they aren't picking on the kid who had like 2 home runs last night. Like for crying out loud.
I mean, he'd be a good one to boo because he hit 2 home runs.
Or their own long-haired reliever who can't get anyone out.
Yeah, that's an issue. That's certainly and that guy. What's weird about that guy is and I'm forgetting his name now. It's
but his hair is shiny and manageable.
Is it Strathan? It's something like that.
Yeah. Chat room in a second, probably.
He keeps his baseball cards around a belt that's on his uniform.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
And then he sells them as like game used baseball cards.
Well, that's a little weird. All right.
It's a little weird, but collectors seem to like it. So fine,
Okay, I want to address this because I mentioned this on I mentioned to Russ this morning.
Strong. I knew it was with an S.
Thanks, Vince.
So in the Dodgers Padres game last night, Jurickson Profar made a great catch over the wall in left field.
Right.
He was celebrating. He turned to the fans and he was doing like this, or I mean, it really wasn't. He wasn't like up yours flipping them the finger or something like that. He was just genuinely enthused that he made this catch. He robbed a home run, and in the 7th inning, the Dodger fans, the genteel Dodger fans of Chavez Ravine, in between their brie and their white wine, started throwing things at Profar in left field. And I made a reference on social media that nobody got.
Yeah.
Because
his grandfather would have gotten it.
Well, bullshit. I said I didn't know Ducky Medwick was playing in left field at Chavez Ravine. And Ducky Medwick, for those who don't know, anybody watched Ken Burns' baseball series, Ducky Medwick was an MVP. I think that year was the year that he won the Triple Crown, and I think then he was the last guy until somebody recently just won it, like Pujols or Ohtani or whatever. It wasn't Ohtani because but in the World Series in 1934, the fans in Detroit started throwing glass bottles at him in the outfield, and Kennesaw Mountain Landis, the commissioner of baseball, made sure that they pulled him from the field, even though they were they were leading like 10-1 or something like that, but pulled him from the field for his own safety, but also because they could not control the crowd. Okay, I'm sorry, control yourself, and if you can't,
I was going to add. Because someone asked in the chat room, did Profar egg them on, or was it all good fun? And I'm like, it was all good fun because fans were actually yelling at Tatis that he had small testicles, for lack of a better word, to try
because he took roids.
Right. And he was dancing around and laughing about it. But yet they threw at the other guy. Like, it's just, if you can't like have fun, there's no reason to ever throw anything at anybody. Like,
ironically, like Tatis's dad, I'm pretty sure he was the guy who hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning against the Dodgers in LA. So, but just I love the reputation of all these these genteel fans in LA. These are the fans who, by the way, leave in the 7th inning. You see when Kirk Gibson's hitting the home run in the 9th inning in the '88 World Series. They're the idiots who are on the highway and they're stopping. You see the lights of the car stopping.
Yeah.
So and just one more thing quickly. Those people who Jets fans don't need to, they're understandably upset by their team underachieving. Buffalo Sabres fans who the teams have not made the playoffs in 13 years are genuinely and understandably upset that their teams don't make it. But 2 teams that I follow and I cover, the Buffalo Bills fans and the Toronto Maple Leafs fans. Yeah, these teams make the playoffs every year, but then they don't go anywhere. So people think that their fan bases are spoiled or, oh, come on, because when you have a generational player like Austin Matthews and you only have those players for a certain amount of years, you know that your window is limited. So each year that you waste with this guy, then you're throwing away a legitimate chance of winning a Stanley Cup. And in pro football, it's even more rare because a quarterback like Josh Allen, you have just a few cracks at winning a Super Bowl, and each year you waste. And these teams, by mismanagement or by stupid decisions, have wasted years of these guys' careers. And their fan bases are not spoiled; they're justified.
Well, I think counterpoint there. I think that people would rather have the Buffalo Sabres be in the playoffs every year and lose than have them not be in the playoffs for 13 years. I think that any hockey fan whose team is not in the playoffs, that sucks. That's just a feeling like oh my, because the playoffs are everything. The playoffs are what we all look forward to. So when your team doesn't make the playoffs, it just sucks. I mean, when your team makes the playoffs, at least, even if they don't win, at least there's a couple.
No, okay. I'm not. Hey, I understand. Sabres fans want the team to make the playoffs. Okay, I get that.
Detroit fans, Ottawa fans.
But Toronto fans, oh, be happy. Your team is making the playoffs. Bullshit. You want your team to win the Stanley Cup. And if they don't win, they're understandably upset. So you know what? I'm sorry. There's a certain level that fans want their teams to get to. And if they don't get to them, they have a right to be upset.
There you go. Well, I mean, yeah, they do have a right to be upset for sure. But, Sabres fans would say that's kind of spoiled. But anyway, we'll just play along, I think that they would, and I'm not saying that jerkingly, like even the Flyers fans who haven't seen the playoffs for a while. It's like seeing the playoffs is better than not seeing the playoffs. Yeah, just being a top team and losing the first round sucks too, but it doesn't mean that you're,
Yeah, but getting the first overall pick is pretty good, isn't it?
Sometimes. Buffalo has a couple of them. It doesn't seem to help. But I think that they have 2 defensemen that they picked that are top picks, but
that are really good players.
We got a lot to get into here.
Let's go.
Okay, hello, Hockey World. It's Monday, October 7th, 2024.
I'm Michael Agello, and I'm pissed off.
I'm Russ Cohen from sportsalgy.com and NHLDraftBuzz.com, and I'm not mad.
I'm not angry at all. I'm happy to be here. I'm Eklund. That's true. I'm Eklund, and they're watching HockeyBuzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com. This is a podcast that comes to you Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to keep you up to date with all the comings and goings in the league. And we are very lucky to have the 2 people along with us today and our full group here. So we're going to get into predictions, which everyone hates to do. Mike hates to do it so much he doesn't want to predict them all. I feel like sports are fun, and I feel like you have to do this. I think this is something you have to do, which is like, to me, it's just a fun part.
People like it. They do.
I don't have to do anything.
You're always gonna tick off people for sure, because you got to pick someone last in each division. That sucks. And,
last year with the Red Wings, everybody gave me hell all year. Yeah,
you know, somebody's got to finish last, and I always say like the last 3 teams you could throw in a hat usually on any of the divisions, and they could come up, pretty much anywhere you want.
Barry, next week on Off the Post, we will try the Grape Tang.
Oh God! All right, yeah, well, can't wait for that. That'll be fun. All right, so let's start in the Metro division, okay? Now, Mike, you just want to do the top, or do you want to do them all? Like, I'm going to do them. I'm going to go quickly here, but I'm not going to.
Okay. No. Well, okay.
I'm not doing them all. Like, I was prepared to do the ones making the playoffs.
Why don't I do the lower teams, and you can disagree or agree with me? Why don't we do that? Like,
yes, and most of the time it'll be disagree. But
I'm sure. Well, the 8th place team I have in the Metro division is the New York Islanders.
No. Oh, come on, please. Already.
What?
I disagree. I have the Columbus Blue Jackets there.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
I mean, obviously, I have Columbus 7th. Okay, Columbus is like, it's easy to put Columbus there. However, being around hockey as long as they've been around hockey, I think Columbus could have a bit of a boost this year, early on, especially, that could get them in enough spots to get 7th. I would like to pick them higher even, but I won't. But I'm just saying that I think that. Okay. I really feel like the Islanders have nothing going on.
You know that if there's anybody out there who is the harshest critic of the New York Islanders is Moa. There's too much talent there for them to finish in 8th. Are they going to make the playoffs? No. Yeah.
Tell me where the too much talent is.
Barzal.
You always rip Barzal to shreds.
Yeah, but he's still I'm just saying he's not a franchise player. He's a good player. Horvat is a good player. Anders Lee is a good player. Dobson is one of the, I'd say, 10 best defensemen in the NHL. Sorokin, if he's right health-wise, is one of the 3 or 4 best goaltenders. There's enough talent there for them not to finish in 8th. So they're not finishing. Well,
okay, listen, obviously Columbus is the obvious choice for every reason that we know. But to me, like I said, I just think now I'm going to go up to 6th. Then I'll just go up to 6th because I'll do. It's where I put the Pittsburgh Penguins in number 6. That's
okay. This is how I'll do it. I will agree. Okay, I do not think the Columbus Blue Jackets will make the playoffs. I think they'll finish 8th. Yeah. I do not think the New York Islanders will make the playoffs.
Okay.
New York Islanders are amongst the group of 6 or 7 teams that will challenge for one wild card spot. I have 7 of the 8 teams as locks in the East. But
I'm going to say similar to Mike.
Yep. Okay.
The teams that I have missing the playoffs in the Metro are the Islanders, the Jackets, the Flyers.
Okay, those 3. So you think 5 teams in the Metro get in?
Yeah.
No. Okay,
that's an interesting. We'll get back to that. Let's hold off on that because that's going to be the big reveal at the end. What you guys think is going to be,
Yep.
I'm just the opening act here. Okay, so number 5 is where I have Philly. I think they will be better with Mitchka, but I don't think they can finish. I don't think they have a sniper, and I honestly think that's their downfall. Like I think that Mitchkov is a great passer. He might turn into be a sniper, but I can't do everything. So the reality is. He will make them better because he will make them. We will insert a lot of energy into the team. He will insert a lot of excitement in the team, and the players will play faster and and be a little bit more creative. So I think Philly's got a 5th spot there. So now I'm into my top. Now I'm not going to tell you which teams we're going to make the playoffs until we get to you guys to make the playoffs. But I'll say number 4 is where I have Carolina, and they just keep screwing around with their goaltenders to me. And it's like Brind'Amour can make them as strong as he wants. Brind'Amour can motivate them to the hilt, but they're going to still give up bad goals at bad times. It's like what the Hurricanes do. And it's just,
honestly, okay. We know that there's question marks with their goaltending, but if you look at just the numbers, and I was looking at this yesterday, I mean, Freddie Anderson had a .935 save percentage in I think it was 12 or 13 games. I mean, he didn't play most of the year. Kochetkov, who a lot of people complain about, and apparently is not very popular in that organization because they seem to hesitate just to give him the job. He had a .911 save percentage. So it's like he's a good goaltender. If they would just now, I think their problem is not goaltending. Their problem is their defense is nowhere close to being as good as it used to be.
Well, yeah, they've taken a lot of hits there. A lot of hits there for sure, and that's going to make their goaltending worse too. So I think I honestly think that they were a pretty good defensive team, keeping guys to the outside, making goalies not work. But then again, all those numbers don't mean anything in the playoffs because they always give up bad goals. So it's the same thing. That's what happens every year for Carolina. So number 3
I'll tell you I have 4th. I have the Capitals 4th.
Yeah.
And the reason is I think they've done a little bit in the offseason here. And Verana could, I don't know, did he make the roster? I don't know yet.
I'm not sure.
I'll check. I thought I saw his name today.
Yeah, if he does, that could be a real big boost for them. Plus, Sandin, I don't expect to be out the stretch of time he was last year. Right. So, do I think Lindgren's for real? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think he's for real too.
Their goaltending is better with Lindgren and Logan Thompson than it was last year.
And Thompson could always win the job. That's what Logan Thompson does.
I think he could. Yeah. So that's where I have the Rangers. The Rangers are in third for me. I think the Rangers will definitely.
Verana made the team.
Okay, made the team. All right, that's a good sign for them. Okay. With the Rangers in third, I really feel like this is a team that doesn't care as much as the regular season. They're going to gear up for the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs, but they're not going to be like a team that pushes super hard. They haven't done much, And in ways, sometimes when you stand still, you're moving backwards because the two teams I have above them did a lot to me and did a lot of good things. And second is where I have the Capitals, which I know is kind of like surprise people to a T, but I'm with you on everything you said about the Caps. Plus, Ovechkin's going to be on a mission to prove everybody wrong. Everybody's saying that Ovechkin can't get the record this year, and he's going to.
I don't think he's going to. I think him getting banked up in the preseason doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
I think there's a chance, but okay. So I think we know who the number one is here. So let's Russ.
Let's talk about the Caps for a second here, because I love the addition of Jacob Chikrin. They filled in the spots they needed to fill in. Logan Thompson, like you said, they got two goalies now that can play, which is good, and they need those two goals. And you need two goalies to make the playoffs in the NHL.
Yeah, and now they have Dubois.
And Pierre-Luc Dubois could be inspired. You never know. He's one of those guys who, if he doesn't work out here, he's
Pierre-Luc Dubois and inspired never go in the same sentence.
Tendency, yes, to be true, but I think the Capitals are going to be the surprising. I also think they're really well coached. I think the Caps are really, I think they're solidly coached, and I think that this team could really surprise people. And I do think Ovechkin will have a real, maybe not like a super rebirth, but he will challenge for that record.
Yeah, I'm okay. So Russ has 5 and 3, 5 in the Metro, 3 in the Atlantic. I have 4 and 4.
Okay. We got to do the division first.
I know, but I'm saying, we have
to go through the rest of our list. So
yeah, want to go through the division with me, and then we can say our playoff guys. Okay, is that okay? So Montreal.
We want to go through our divisions too.
I thought you didn't want to go through.
No, well,
you just want to do the playoff teams, right? So let's do that.
Just the playoff team. So I had the Caps in 4th. I've got Carolina 3 because same reasons Eck does. The goaltending, for as long as they're riding Freddie, they're going to keep slipping a little bit.
Yeah.
Svechnikov gets hurt just enough every year to kind of screw him up, and I still worry about the goal scoring. And now Mike did bring up their defense, which isn't the same.
Right.
So that's.
I like that.
I have the Capitals 4, and I have the Hurricanes 3 as well.
All right, so here we go. In the Atlantic, which is a very hard.
No, I didn't finish the Metro.
I thought we did. Did we?
No, I did not. No. So number 2, I have the Rangers.
Right.
The Rangers second. I do think they're fine, but they've got a couple of holes. They'll figure out how to fill them, or they'll make trades at the deadline. So I'm not that worried about them. Shesterkin will sign his contract in the next day or two, I think, and I think that'll all get cleared up. I have the Devils winning the division.
Yeah.
Not because of what they did overseas, because they plugged up the problem in goal, and they've got Hamilton back, and their defensemen are a year older. If Hughes stays healthy like he did a couple of years ago, you saw that they were able to beat the Rangers. I think they're able to get to even bigger heights.
But he's already hurt, so
I know.
But I have them flip-flopped. I have Rangers 1, Devils 2.
Okay, yeah, I have Devils 1, Caps 2, Rangers 3. So we're all in about the same area.
Yes.
Now we'll go to the Atlantic. Then we'll get back to who the playoff teams are. Number 8, I have Montreal. I think we'll all agree with that.
Yes.
Montreal is. I don't know if you agree with that, Ross, or not, but okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Montreal and Columbus are I would say the only absolute definites in the East that are not making the playoffs. I don't see any way that either one of them make it. No way.
I could see Montreal making a bit of a. I don't think Columbus can make it, but I think Montreal could possibly make it.
They don't have enough scoring. They don't have enough defensive depth. They don't have a good enough goaltending. I mean, I like pieces. The core is getting bigger. They have some good young players. They're like 4 or 5. They're like 4 or 5 players away from being a playoff team.
You have to close the shade.
That's a big distance. That really is.
Yeah, it is a big distance. And they're
but here, and I'll just say this because I know you're going to go through the list, Zach. I've got the 3 teams. The 3 teams that are outside of the playoffs, they're all flawed. They all potentially could make the playoffs, but they all have one or maybe 2 things that I think are going to prevent them. And that's the same group from last year. That's Detroit, Ottawa, Buffalo. They all have talent. They all have things that if everything goes right, they could make a charge for a playoff spot. I just don't think they're going to. So I don't know what order they're going to finish in. But I think, they're 5, 6, and 7 in the Atlantic.
I don't agree with that, but Russ, do you?
Yeah, with the Atlantic, I have hold on. Yeah, I've got Panthers winning it.
Right.
I've got Bruins second, Leafs third, and then I've got who's my fourth here? The Lightning.
Okay.
For my playoff,
Wait. Playoffs at the end. It's okay. It's one of the big reveal. We're trying to build up suspense. We're building up suspense here. Okay, so all right, so I have Ottawa at 7. I love Ullmark as their goalie. In my opinion, 4, 5, 6, and 7 could come up in almost any order. I'm not just going to say 5, 6, and 7 like you. I'm going to put Tampa in that group as well. I think that I have Tampa coming in 6th.
Wow.
Buffalo in 5th, Detroit in 4th. Then Boston 3rd, Florida 2nd, and Maple Leafs 1st.
Yeah, you're please. I mean,
no, I know what Craig Berube can do, and I really think he can do a lot with, and I think he's a big X factor for them now. And
sure, whatever.
I had him as a coach yet, Mike, so you can't rip on him yet. He hasn't coached a single game.
I'm not ripping on him at all, Ak. I'm looking.
They got the right coach for them.
I'm looking at the way okay. Are they one of the top 3 teams in the Atlantic? Yes. I think now that Boston has got Swayman signed, and Boston improved themselves dramatically by adding Lindholm up the middle, and adding Zadorov on the blue line. They didn't. The only thing that they lost of significance from last year was DeBrusk, and DeBrusk was a playoff performer, but during the regular season really didn't matter that much. Their bottom 6 depth is not as good, but it's not terrible. I think they're going to win the division. I think it's either one of Toronto or Florida, 2, 3. It's not going to matter. They're going to be in the top 3. I don't think the regular season matters to Florida because they could turn it on in the playoffs and they could make a run. Now the thing is with them, their defense is no longer as good as it was. They lose Montour. They lose a couple other players. They lose basically their entire bottom 6. Right. So they're not as good. Toronto, I think, has improved a little bit defensively. The goaltending is a question mark. Whether Wool can stay healthy, whether Stolarz can be an effective 1B. I said on Off the Post yesterday that I think Matt Murray's going to end up playing 20 to 25 games for them because he did clear waivers, Russ. That bonus did make the difference. They had a $100,000 bonus payable on Thursday to make sure that he would get waivers. And these cheap teams in the NHL who don't want a goaltender who won 2 Stanley Cups decided, I'll pick up James Reimer instead. So be my guest.
Crazy to me too.
Reimer's on the Ducks now, right? Isn't that right?
Yep. Yeah. So, but I think Boston's going to win the division, and I think Florida and Toronto will be in the top 3. But okay,
I think Boston won't simply because of the Swayman thing. He's not going to play for a little while.
He's going to play tomorrow, or tomorrow.
Well, that's not a good idea.
They say he's going to play immediately. He's kept himself in remarkable shape.
Yeah, whatever. That's dumb.
It's a ridiculous contract for Swayman, I think. And I think that, and I really just feel like he hasn't earned that number yet.
It's future. They're paying a lot for the future.
That never works out with goalies. It doesn't work out very often with goalies.
They're paying him the same amount as Sorokin. And did he have as much of a resume as Sorokin did when he got that contract? No, but you know what? It's nice to see the Boston Bruins pay up the nose.
They got screwed. They had to.
Well,
yeah. I mean, I look at it like this: do you want to pay him 8 now, or possibly 12 in the future? I think that's what they were looking at.
Yeah,
I would say 12 in the future, because if I'm paying him 12 in the future, I've won some Stanley Cups in there. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I see that.
You could have bridged him for 2 more years at say $6 million, and then if he had 2 years like he did last year, you would be paying him over 10. So it's pay a little now or pay a lot later.
Yeah.
All right. So here's something from NHL.com. I have to say this before we go any further. We're all going to feel incredibly old. Connor Bedard idolized Matt Barzal growing up. That's it. That's crazy.
That just makes me feel very, very old.
Crazy.
I can see that. I can see it in his game.
Well,
but
Easton Cowan idolized Mitch Marner, Russ.
Yeah, I know. He said that to me in summer. Yeah.
Did you guys see the Mitch Marner
even more?
You guys see the Mitch Marner slam on the top 50 players? That was pretty crazy.
No,
they had him at like 41.
Oh, wow.
Of the top 50
he's
players,
41. He's better than that.
That's in anticipation of him leaving Toronto at the end of the year. So
I don't know. That's a crazy thing to do. I mean, when I saw that, I'm like, holy cow! They had the players they had ahead of him. You know, they had some bizarre players.
Well, maybe playoffs actually does matter.
Well, yeah, I mean it does, but still, he's still.
Not when you're making that list. That list
is just not who's the best of the best, you know. And he's definitely in the top 20. He was in the top 20.
Okay,
sure.
I'm going to just give Dan B my thing here. Okay, right. After years and years and years of the Bruins underpaying Bergeron, Marchand, Krejci, Chara, it's wonderful that they actually have to pay market rate for players like Pasternak, McAvoy, and Swayman. I'm sorry, gone are the days that they get the discount. It's bullshit. It's crap. I mean, I don't like what Yzerman's doing in Detroit because other teams have to pay through the nose. Why shouldn't every team do it?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that Boston gets away with that because people want to be in Boston. I mean, they want to play
People
there.
People want to be in Toronto too. People want to be in New York. People want to be in LA. Nobody wants to be in Montreal.
They played Bergeron very well for a long time. You know,
they paid him $6.6 million. He was the best two-way center potentially in the history of the NHL.
Yeah, but that was how many years ago was he getting a big contract of $6.6 million? I mean, it's like
up until 2 years ago.
But in comparison, what I'm saying is, in comparison to other players in that era, when he got his big contract, which was more than that, I think.
He signed an 8-year deal. I think it was like 6.8.
So that would have been 11 or 12 years ago, right?
I'm gonna check.
That 6.8, 11 or 12 years ago is significant.
I'm gonna check our wonderful Cap Central.
Remember where the salary cap is, you know, and was, you know, like the salary cap was half of what it is now, and everything like that. So there's a big difference there, you know. That's the reality.
Okay. Patrice Bergeron until 21-22, so 2 years ago.
Right.
But the year before he retired was making $6.875 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Before then, he was making $5 million. He was never the highest paid, even the highest paid player on the team. And the guy was the best two-way center possibly in the history of the league.
No, I don't know about the history of the league.
Say history of the league, and I would say he grew into that in the last 4 years.
A lot of Canadians fans that'll fight you now.
Two-way?
Yes.
Yeah. What, Jean Beliveau?
Beliveau, Gainey, you know, there's some guys.
He was a center. He wasn't a center. He was a winger.
Gainey was a winger. I thought he did play some center. But
Gainey definitely played center.
No, he played left wing.
Not all the time.
I'm going to look it up.
I remember his Stratomatic card, Mike. I've always had him at center.
Yeah, I had him at left wing. He was always
he had both those things on there.
Pretty sure he played some center. Let's see.
Especially in Dallas, he played center too.
Yeah.
I remember. But okay. So, all right. Well, you know, those lists are always kind of like, you know, crazy, this top 50 list. And they really did go nuts on it this time. They like dropped Fox down from like 14 to like 38. You know, Adam Fox.
Mike, he played center too. It says it right here.
Hockey Reference has him as a left winger.
Mike, Bob Gainey. First thing that AI pulls up, Bob Gainey is a former Canadians player who played center.
AI is
Played
bullshit.
center during his 16-year career.
AI is bullshit. You're
No, he did both.
We're the older guys that watch.
He was one of the best. I remember the thing about him being in Detroit, in Dallas, being one of the best face-off players in the league. That's
Yes.
right. That doesn't mean that back in the day, defensemen took face-offs.
No, but not that we're not that far
Not
back.
with Dallas.
Okay, not in the 90s.
We're getting off the beaten path here. Let's go back.
Yeah, we'll get back. But yeah, he definitely. So I have a theory that I want to throw this out really quickly, that the second best duo.
Yuri Lettinen was a winger too there, Tony. Go ahead.
Lettinen was a winner, yeah.
Yep.
I remember him being a winner.
I think he was the last winger to win the Selke.
Fedorov played both center and wing.
Fedorov played center and defense.
He didn't play wing too, though. He played both. I mean, listen, almost every guy like that is good.
And I'm not forgetting Brian Trottier. I had him in Stratomatic too. But
when they wanted to shut things down, they would put Gainey at center. I remember I was a Montreal fan back then. That he was the shutdown center when they had to.
They had a lot of guys who could play center in Montreal. That was the thing.
He was the best defensive guy, and they would put him against the best center on the other team at the end.
Randy, Dave Keon was a great two-way player, but he was never a great offensive player. He was phenomenal defensively. I'm talking by two-way. I mean, Bergeron was a 75 to 80 point center in his prime and was the best defensive center in the league. But okay, let's get back to the playoff team.
All right, so I've got now we're going to get to our playoff predictions here, and then I'll throw something out that I think is going to be relatively controversial. So, Mike, you start us off with your 8 playoff teams.
Okay. So it is Boston, Florida, Toronto, Tampa in the Atlantic.
Okay.
Rangers, Devils, Carolina, Washington in the Metro.
Okay. So you got 4 and 4.
4 and 4.
All right. I got writing these down. Russ, what do you have?
I've got Edmonton, Vancouver.
Oh, that's east.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to do 2 things at once. I had a problem on another show. I got to look it up now. I just have to.
You had Florida, Toronto, Boston.
I have Florida, Toronto. I have Florida, Boston, Toronto, Tampa.
Right.
Then what we're talking about.
You had Devils had a Rangers.
I thought you were going
Devils, Rangers, Carolina, Caps.
Yep. So you had the same 8 as I did.
So you got the same. Okay. I thought you were going 5 in the Metro for a second there.
You did. You did. You said you had 5 in the
wild card. I said the Penguins would make the wild card.
Oh, okay. So you don't have you have Penguins beating out Tampa. Okay.
No, Tampa's my 4th.
Right, I know, but you only had 3 in the Atlantic, 5 in the Metro, and you have.
Oh yeah, in that regard, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So that's so you do have 5 in the Metro. That's okay. Interesting. So I have
We're the experts, folks. By the way,
we are absolutely. Everything is exactly how it's going to turn out, as I always say. New Jersey, Washington, and the Rangers. Tampa, Florida, Boston, Detroit, Buffalo in the other league. So that's the 8. That's my 8 teams. I know Buffalo.
Say that. Okay, say that again.
Okay, New Jersey, Washington, and the Rangers.
So you had 3 making it in the Metro.
Yep, Toronto, Florida, Boston, Detroit, and Buffalo. The 5 in the Atlantic that I got making it.
Okay, so you don't have Tampa making it, and you don't have the
Tampa, Ottawa, Montreal.
Believe me, I have Tampa falling off. They're not going to be in the top 3. I think the organization has been gutted by the departure of Stamkos.
Yeah,
but they still have Vasilevsky, they still have Hedman, and they still have Kucherov. There's enough there for them to make the playoffs.
Yeah, there is, but I'm bullish on the Sabres. I know that they had definitely a first game was very hard for them, but
the second game was worse. I mean,
it was in some ways.
Here is the problem, and I am there all the time covering the Sabres for the Hockey News.
Right.
The problem here is, Russ and I have been looking at this all summer. They bought out Jeff Skinner, and they never replaced him. They dropped 50 goals from 23 to 24, and then they lost 24 goals, but I think it was 24 goals that Skinner had last year because he was getting older and he's starting to get slower. And I understood the buyout, but they never replaced him. Now they have cap space and they could go out and they have tons of assets in the organization and they could go out at some point during the year to make a trade. And we'll be talking about Nikolai Ehlers or whoever is the man of the moment in terms of a pending UFA. But the problem is they have to be in the race in March to make that move. And if they play like they did at the beginning of last year, they won't be. Now, I think they're going to be better. They're deeper. But if they can't score, it's not going to matter. I mean, the 2 games that they played in Czechia were exactly, they scored 1 goal each game. They went 0 for 6 on the power play.
Right.
Two of the young players that they're depending on to jump up in the lineup to score, Benson and Peterka, both got hurt. One got hurt in game 1. The other one got concussed in game 2.
Right.
They had 13 shots on goals with 5 minutes left to go in the third period of game 2.
Yeah.
And Lindy Ruff is like, well, we've adversity.
No one wanted to say is they were playing maybe one of the best teams in the NHL. Like that was the reality. They were playing New Jersey, and New Jersey has the potential to be a top 3 team in the league.
Right.
And
I'm not disputing.
I'm going to just give you. I didn't do this when I did the picks, but Money Puck has the Sabres at 38%, 38.1 to make the playoffs.
Okay.
It's hard to make the playoffs even 0-2. Like it does matter.
No, it does matter for sure, but they've got their 2 games against New Jersey out of the way. That's like another thing you can think of, another way you can look at it. Like they have,
Well, Ross, the thing is, and I looked this up because I wanted to make sure that I was right, and I was, because my memory's not that bad. Last year they started the season 1-3. They started Levi the first 4 games, and they started 1-3. They didn't get over 500 until March. Till March.
But this isn't that team.
No, but if you dig yourself an early hole, so now you've got to win 3 games in a row to get over 500. That's tough.
You got to win 2, lose 1, win 2, lose 1, that kind of thing. Eventually you'll get there. There are many games left in the season, so it's not like And I think a lot of the cap space they're saving for the fact that they have a lot of players who they're going to have to pay. Like there's a lot of players who are going to be big contracts in the near future too.
Well, that's why you're trading for a rental act. That's why. But the thing is, this organization operates because they're similar. And Russ, I think you'd agree with this, that they have to operate similar to the Canadians operate right now. They can't get anybody to come there. They got Jason Zucker to sign a 1-year deal because they overpaid him at $5 million. Okay, but the Sabres, their own players, they can get them to stay because they like it here because they know Buffalo. But from the outside perspective, what do they see? 13 years of not making the playoffs.
That's why they should have drafted like Quentin Musty, who's from there. I guess sometimes you have to do that. Maybe do that.
But by the way, did you see the story about Musty? Yeah, so Quentin Musty, who was a first-round pick of the San Jose Sharks, he's playing for Sudbury in the OHL, which is about 6 hours away from Buffalo. And now I don't know if it's a family thing or whatever. I don't know. All I know is that Musty, who went to San Jose Sharks camp, came back and said, I'm not playing for Sudbury.
Right.
And Sudbury's basically saying, well, if you can make a deal that's beneficial to us, we'll do it. But he's our property and he's got to play for us. Well, no, he doesn't. He could go over and play in Switzerland if he wants to.
He can. And you know what a solution will be for him for next year? He'll just go play in college. Because he'll pass that this year and he'll end up going and playing in college.
Yeah, he could go play at Canisius or not. Well, no,
right. He's better than that.
He could play for Michigan or Boston College or somebody like that. Yeah. So, he'll do that.
He'll do that for sure. And that's not a bad move. It's never a bad move. Honestly, college is a good way to go for these guys.
I think that could happen because like Mike's right. Maybe there was a reason he needs to stay near home.
Yeah, right. That's always possible. We don't know this. So I was doing some digging around. And I tried to figure out who, in my opinion, was the second best top duo on a team. Obviously, I think.
Hold on. Before you do that, I got to give the rest of my picks.
I'm so sorry. I didn't do mine yet either. What the heck? I apologize. I'm out of.
I had Edmonton, Vancouver, Vegas, and
no, we're not going that division yet. Not the conference yet.
We're not doing any of that division.
Wednesday.
Oh, we'll do that Wednesday. Okay, I'll save that. My bad. Go ahead. Go. Sorry.
He gave mine picks. I think we're all set. I think I'm right. Okay, so all right.
My other playoff team was Ottawa, though, for the wild card.
Oh, okay.
Ottawa. And I think because Allmark there for a year could give them enough of a charge that they'll do it. Will he stay more than a year? I don't know, but that's why I think they can make it.
And they have some good players, and
they do.
I don't disagree that Ottawa's a team that you will want to watch on center ice this year. They'll have interesting things.
My concern with Ottawa right now is, they lost Shabbat, Stützle, and Kachuk in the span of 2 games in the preseason. Now, one of them was a serious injury. The other ones, I think they'll maybe be, but Norris can't stay healthy. Now I think the loss of Chychrun, they really didn't replace him. I mean, I think Sanderson and Shabbat are 2 really good defensemen. Zub is not bad. The depth on defense is not great. Their forwards need to learn how to play 2-way. Maybe Travis Green gets them to do that. I think that people believe that all of a sudden that Linus Ullmark is going to be the salve on the wound of the Ottawa Senators in terms of the goaltending.
Well, I mean,
I saw Linus Ullmark play in Buffalo in front of an average defense.
It was a very long time ago, Mike. I mean,
no, it wasn't. It was 3 years ago.
No, but that's before he gets in with a great goalie coach in Boston. He's learned a lot.
Yeah, it's because they have a great defense.
I think he's in a different place, Mike.
Yeah, he's in a different place. I mean, isn't Asenza the goalie coach in Boston or something like that?
I think you need to look up this show 3 years ago and look at yourself, and then you'll realize, oh yeah, there is some.
I'm more handsome now.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, people are saying, okay, in the Sopranos says to us, Ullmark will look worse without the Bruin structure. Of course they will. Well, I mean, there's no Charlie McAvoy on Ottawa. I mean, that's
no.
Sure. It's Jake Sanderson's going to be really good.
He is.
It's not the individual parts. It's the team concept, and that team ruins goalies. That team cannot play defense. Now, if they buy into what Travis Green is selling and they play better team defense, then I think Russ is right. Then they can challenge for a wild card. I'm just not convinced. I need to see it. I don't believe it.
I'm not saying Travis Green either.
Sometimes you have to be a visionary, Mike.
We'll see what happens there, right? So, okay. My last thing we'll say before we get out of here is what time is it now? Okay, last 15 minutes I want to debate this because I was trying. We talked about the to me the top pairing on any team. The top
pairing. Do you mean like center winger?
I'm going to say McDavid and Draisaitl. The top. Okay. If you're going to give 2 players on one team that are the best, and I was trying to find who the next best was, and this is an interesting debate because there's a lot of different guys in there. A lot of different teams have this. But I looked at you can look at Crosby and Malkin. Obviously they were for many years they were considered
Matthews Marner.
Even like Reinhart and Barkov. There's certain things that are picking up as well. And the Rangers.
Rantanen.
Yeah. McKinnon Rantanen is a great one.
Point and Kucherov.
Yep. So what do you think is the next best in your opinion?
About the next best after McDavid and Draisaitl?
Yeah, after those 2, yeah.
I think it's Matthews and Marner.
I think it's McKinnon and Rantanen. I do.
Yeah, they're very close. I mean, you could if you're going to say, you could say that they're better because at least they've won a cup. I wouldn't argue that.
Yeah, I'm not even going there.
I think most people would take McKinnon over Matthews and would take over Marner.
They might not take McKinnon over Matthews. I think you get a lot of split on that, but they definitely would take Rantanen over Marner.
Agreed.
And another one that came up why I started thinking about this, and I'm not going to say they're up in that level yet, but they're working towards that, is Hughes and Hershier, who really, are another 2 that, are going.
Yeah, but they're similar. They're similar to Draisaitl and McDavid in the sense that they're both centers and they play on 2 different lines. And only when they're behind in a game and I don't think Keefe will do this. Keefe will not lump 2 centers together because that ruins 2 lines. He'll keep them separate. Right. So I don't think you can make them into a dynamic duo type of thing.
Dan in our chat room says McKinnon Makar.
Well, that's a defenseman.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
I guess we can't. Well, I mean, we didn't really say it. If you want to just say the team that has the two best players,
Pasternak and McAvoy. I mean, you could say that.
That's true too. You could say that
yeah,
too.
if you're going to just say two guys on the ice, I'll still go with McKinnon.
How about Panarin and Shesterkin? Then you want to go before?
Yeah, sure, to go that route. The funny thing is I was going to say Panarin, but he's been playing now with Trocheck and not with Zibanejad, so that changed that.
Yeah, I think so. Let's stay with just forwards for now in this argument.
Right, and the same thing with Hughes. Hughes now is playing more Meyer and so that hurts him. Otherwise,
Hughes. There you go.
He is actually, in my opinion, the difference between the Devils finishing first, second, or third is going to come down to Timo Meyer.
I think there's a fair sense. I mean, Luke Hughes, by the way, Mike, is the one that's hurt, not Jack.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. You made it seem like Jack.
No. I was saying their defense. They got Hamilton back, but Luke Hughes has been hurt since the preseason.
Yeah, I think you're right. If Timo Meyer got them 30 goals,
if he goes back to Timo Meyer that we knew in San Jose, it's a big difference. And there's no reason he couldn't go back. He's not that old. I mean,
but hey, but right now the leading goal scorer in the NHL is Paul Cotter. So
I like Paul Cotter. He's built like a bowling ball.
We have someone that says Robertson and Heiskanen. That's an interesting one, but
Robertson and Rupe Hens.
I would say Hens too. Robertson and Hens. Hens is very underrated.
I can blindfold myself and I know who that is. So
right.
Oh, Tony Soprano.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. All right, let's talk about rookies of the year for a second, and then we'll get out of here.
Celebrini, bye.
You think Celebrini's it?
Yeah,
I mean, he could be. I mean,
he could be. He is injured right now. He is.
Yeah, it's not a serious injury. He's going to be playing major minutes like Bedard did last year because the team he's on is rebuilding. So they're going to give him all the opportunity. He's going to get 23, 24 minutes a night. He's going to play with the best wingers. He's going to play every first power play. I mean, if he doesn't, I'm not saying it's going to be a disappointment, but I think the only thing prevents him from winning Rookie of the Year is injury. I mean, there are players.
There's still a chance that power play stinks.
And I do agree. I do agree with Tony. Even though he qualifies for Rookie of the Year because he only played, I think, less than 20 games. But Logan Stankoven is fantastic.
That's my pick.
He's a great pick, and
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are going with Michkov too. That's when you listen to TV.
Yeah, I think Michkov will be in at 5.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to be the guy because I still think there will be conflict between him and Torts, and that would maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know that sounds shocking. So I do think there'll be some of that, Eck, and I think as a result. Yeah, that would probably prevent him from being the top guy. And Celebrini could be the top guy for sure. I am worried that he got a little nicked up early, and that team isn't great. I know what Mike said is true as far as everything, but then he's exposed there too.
He's a big target there, and he's not a big kid. He's not small, but he's not
but you know what?
Go into his body a lot, And
I think if he was in the East. It would be a much tougher road to hoe in terms of him being the West is not as physical a conference as the East has become. So I think he definitely would have a problem if he was on, say, Ottawa or Buffalo or Detroit. But with playing in San Jose, and he's going to be playing a lot of meaningless games against teams that are going to be playing second goaltenders against San Jose. I think he's going to end up probably with about 55 to 60 points.
That's pretty good.
I would have just mentioned Randy's guy. He's got Sam Honzek. Honzek has never stayed healthy.
Right.
Yeah, I've got to actually see him stay healthy, so I can't put him in the grouping of these guys because he's never healthy.
What about Cutter Gauthier? He's
missing too many shots in preseason. It worries me that it's going to take him a little while to adjust. So that for me is a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, he's a lot of. It's interesting to watch him play, though. He definitely is an interesting player to watch. He's got his own style, sort of, which is neat. I like when players don't look like every other player.
Yeah, Tony would push somebody on the Cowboys too if he could. So.
I met Maverick.
He's going to say Thomas Harley for the Norris.
I met Maverick work at a bar in Austin, and he's
right. He said that.
A really sweet guy. But and I think he's obviously got the speed, but he's so small. He's small. And he was small to stand next to him. He was small, he's just not a big guy, but he's definitely fast.
He's good. I think he's going to take a little while to develop.
Yeah. So the big question I have a couple people that text me, they wanted your opinion on this, Russ, was the Flyers keeping Lutsenko for the time
Well,
being.
all right. So I brought up it's a 50-50 proposition in the sense that when they did this with Lucas Biza, he came up, played 39 games.
Yeah.
They screwed him up.
Yeah.
So to say you can't screw up anybody by doing it is wrong.
Right.
If you bring him up and you're just giving him a couple games, that's okay. My worry, though, Eck, is this is on the road. They can't control the matchup. You're going against the big Western teams. So do you think they're actually going to put their third line against Jet Lutsenko? No, they're going to have their best center or second best center doing it and feeding off of that.
I mean,
I understand I understand what Briere said that, hey, he may not have scored a lot, but he did those other things. And then my answer is, do you want him to be a future goal scorer and like 80-point guy, or do you want him to survive and do what happened to Couturier under Laviolette, which wasn't great for him, but he got through it. You know why he got through it? Because he's got a coach for a dad and he's got a big frame.
Yeah, and he's also very good, incredible defensively. So that that was he was always good defensively from a rookie.
Are you doing this as an object lesson to say, okay, Jet, this is how far you are from being ready for the NHL? Play 3 or 4 games like the Leafs did with Fraser Minton last year. They played him 3 or 4 games. He at the end realized, okay, I've got a ways to go before I'm ready for this. If that's that's what they're doing, then fine.
I don't think they're doing that, Mike. I think,
that I disagree.
My gut feeling, because I heard John Tortorella talk about it, and I could see with my own eyes, is they're lacking at the center position, and I think they're looking at him to fill that 3C spot, and I don't love an 18-year-old filling the 3C spot, so I don't like that. Mancini's pretty good. I need to see some more of him to really comment on him, but that's the thing, Eck. I need to – if you're getting him to potentially fill that role – that's not his future role.
Right.
And that's my problem. So here's where the problem is, Zach. So let's say that is true. We don't know that it's true, but we did hear John talk about it and say that if he really liked him, he would push Danny to keep him. The other part of this is, so if you think he is your 3C this year, then you think you're trying to make the playoffs. Because again, this team should not be vying to make the playoffs. If you make it, fine. But John didn't make it last year and came very close. Right. So to me, knowing how he works, he's trying to tinker with every last little thing in his lineup to make up those points last year that he thought they didn't get to make the playoffs. Because otherwise, why would you even worry about it? You're not worried about making the playoffs anyhow.
Yeah, well, Tortorella's always going to try to make the playoffs. Yeah, that's his game, right? So he's not.
Here is the rule, folks. When you're rebuilding, it is not a sin to miss the playoffs. It's actually a good thing to miss the playoffs.
It's a good thing in the holistic picture of it, Mike. You're right, but players will never, ever, ever look at it that way. And fans.
No, that's true. You're right about that. Right.
And fans don't even look at it that way for the most part. Some do, but most of the fans would still say, "I'd rather them make the playoffs than not make the playoffs." And last year there were a lot of people in Philly that were disappointed when they fell apart, sort of at the end, because they were in a playoff spot for most of the year. So that was a big thing, I think, and and obviously the goaltending issues are what they are.
We have to give honorable mention to, because I forgot he was still a rookie. I had to look it up. Seelovs is still a rookie, and with Demko missing X amount of games this year because he's going to have a bad knee that's going to act up at times. Right. He could be a big factor for.
Yeah, he could be. He showed he could be last year a little bit in the playoffs.
So we got to put him in the race too.
That's a good point. All right, so we got a lot more to talk about on Wednesday. We'll be back to talk about the Western Conference, which is, I think, even more confusing.
Even though I kind of revealed a little, sorry.
It's just
nobody remembers.
Just a hint.
That's true.
No. Remember, you can this week's jersey, if you become a season ticket holder on HockeyBuzz, is Crosby's Rimouski jersey, which I have. So that's a fun one to get. I put that up in honor of the season, and it's still nice. So the season starting, and so far we've given away the Philadelphia Firebirds and the Colorado Rockies jerseys. So
wow,
check it out. Yep. All you have to do is become a season ticket holder this week, and when you become a season ticket holder, your name will stay in for the rest of the year. So it's just, but the people who do it this week get twice as good of a chance for this week's jersey. So all right, remember that the buzz is just hockey. We will talk to you Wednesday after the season has begun.